Hey, it's Harrison from Breakthrough Couples. Tonight, I want to talk to you a little bit about underreacting and overreacting, right? When a couple is caught in a dynamic where one person is overreacting, that means that they are triggered and responding to a feeling inside of them that's triggering a protector part within them that's firing at the other person, right? Just firing away. Now, that could put the other person on their heels in a position where they might underreact. So what does that look like? They could minimize, they could deflect, they could feel defeated, they could have very few words for the other person, they could be evasive, they could walk away, they could yes you, right? And that's a kind of underreaction. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not triggered. They're being triggered by an old program within them that's reminding them that I'm not safe. Right? I'm definitely not safe because of your overreacting. So I've learned from such and such so many years ago, I'm pre-wired to underreact. So I will be underreacting to you now while you are overreacting to me. And what does that do to our overreactor anyway? Well, it probably amplifies them, right? It probably, because they're not reaching you and they're not impacting you. They're not getting the result that they want. They're not being heard. So now they could feel abandoned, um, devalued, ignored. They could feel all sorts of things that are going to raise them up a notch. So this is one pattern that couples can fall into in conflicts. Underreacting and overreacting. Underreacting is also interesting because you're basically taking away someone's words when you're underreacting. So you could share something important with someone, and if they're going to go into an underreaction, they might just nod or sort of take it in, or look like they might be taking it in, or give you a one-word answer. They could go on their phones. They could It could do a lot of things, but you'll notice that you don't feel heard, seen, or felt if you're with an underreactor, right? And what do you do with an underreactor? Well, you can't hold them too accountable for their underreaction, or else they'll retreat, or they'll get angry and overreact. But usually an underreactor is not going to respond well to, say, turning up the heat. So what do you do with them? Well, first thing you want to do is when they're not underreacting, you want to talk to them about something that you noticed happening inside of them, right? That they might have this thing in them that underreacts to you when you share news about such and such. And get them to be curious about a kind of numbness or a kind of dissociation that might come over them, like a daydreamer or a drifter. Or one of my clients said, he kind of floats when she talks about money. Or I have another client that says, she kind of loses track when he talks about like job stuff or politics. She kind of loses track, she says, and she just drifts. That's interesting. And so she underreacts, right? So he doesn't feel heard, he doesn't feel seen, he doesn't feel connected to. And she doesn't know what's going on inside of her. She doesn't know that she's underreacting. So they both don't get their needs met. So this is one way you can approach an underreactor when they're not triggered. Talk to them about something that you feel is happening within you. Like, I don't feel heard sometimes when we talk about family, money, politics, quality time. And I notice that, like, there's a kind of underreaction inside of you. Do you notice that? You could try that. And I mean, the overreactor is more obvious to talk to. Like you can talk to an overreactor about their overreaction when they're not triggered and say, you know, when I bring up family politics, money, quality time, scheduling, I notice that like you go from 0 to 100, or you have like a short fuse with me, and it makes it very difficult for me to feel like we're going to have a balanced discussion. Could we work on that? Right? This is a way to begin, at least, breaking out of the overreactive, underreactive cycle that so many couples are plagued by.